это было? Что происходит?
Понял, мы собираемся разбиться.
Этого не может быть!
An Antonov AN-2 aircraft, bearing the registration Romeo Alpha 40312, is navigating the Russian skies on a task assigned by its operator named Avia-Zov. The flight originated from Orenburg Airport, from where the aircraft embarked on a 500 nautical mile journey, heading directly north towards the Serov airfield located in the Sverdlovsk region. This airfield will serve as their home base for the coming weeks. The primary objective of this mission is to conduct surveillance and monitoring of potential fire hazards in the densely forested areas of the region, a critical task for ensuring environmental safety. The AN-2 aircraft is manned by a crew of 3, consisting of an aircraft commander, a second pilot, and an aircraft technician. The aircraft commander is 50-year-old Khatib Kashapov. His career in aviation began with his graduation from the Buguruslan Aviation School at the age of 20 in 1982. Over the decades, Kashapov has accumulated a total of 8,281 hours of flight time. A significant portion of his experience, totaling 5,977 hours, has been dedicated to piloting the Antonov AN-2. The Antonov AN-2, first flown in 1947, holds a unique place in aviation history. Known as Annie, it's the largest single-engine biplane ever built. Designed in the Soviet Union, its longevity is unmatched, with production continuing until 2001, making it one of the longest-running aircraft production programs in the world. The Antonov AN-2 is renowned for its robustness and versatility, able to operate from rugged, unprepared fields thanks to its short takeoff and landing capabilities. Since its first flight in 1947, this robust aircraft has been utilized for agricultural purposes, notably in crop dusting and other rural applications. It has also played a significant role in parachute training, offering an ideal platform for skydiving exercises. Beyond these functions, the AN-2 has been effectively employed in commercial passenger services, accommodating travelers in remote areas with its short takeoff and landing capabilities. Additionally, its spacious cargo hold and sturdy build have made it a reliable workhorse for cargo hauls, particularly in challenging terrains where larger, more sophisticated aircraft cannot operate. A symbol of enduring design and versatility, the Antonov AN-2 remains a vital and active part of aviation, connecting its storied past with its ongoing utility. After covering a distance of approximately 500 nautical miles, the AN-2 touched down at Serov airfield, marking the completion of this more than 4.5-hour flight for the crew. Taxiing to their designated parking spot, they secured the airplane with assistance from the local airfield watchman, Yuri Sergeyevich. Serov, while primarily known for its metallurgical industry, is also situated in a region with significant forest cover. The forestry sector in the region involves logging, timber processing, and paper production, contributing to the local economy alongside the dominant metallurgical industry. Additionally, the forests around Serov are important for environmental conservation and recreational activities, offering scenic beauty and outdoor opportunities for locals and visitors alike. Over the next 2 weeks, the crew diligently executed numerous flight assignments as directed by their operator, Avia-Zov. The crew's regular operations went on without disruption until May 31st, when the region experienced severe weather conditions. Accompanied by heavy rainfall, This change in weather significantly lowered the risk of fire hazards in the area. As a result, the need for aerial monitoring and firefighting missions diminished. Consequently, the changed circumstances practically grounded both the crew and their aircraft. During this unexpected downtime, the aircraft technician seized the opportunity to conduct thorough maintenance work on the airplane. He meticulously serviced the aircraft, ensuring that every component was in optimal condition. After completing the maintenance on June 7, the technician then officially signed it over to the local security guard at the airfield. This transfer was done for the purpose of securing the airplane until it was time for its next flight assignment. Due to the temporary halt of flight operations, the second pilot, with approval from Kashapov and Avia-Zov, departed for the town of Orsk on June 5, planning to return on June 11. As the weather cleared up on June 10, an unexpected turn of events unfolded at the airfield. Aircraft Commander Khatib Kashapov arrived with 4 companions. In a surprising move, he took the airplane without formal authorization and embarked on a flight with these 4 individuals on board. After conducting a flight that lasted about 20 minutes, Kashapov returned and landed safely back at the airfield, where he secured the airplane. It was later revealed that this impromptu flight was not just a casual endeavor. Kashapov had charged his 4 passengers a fee for the experience. This action, involving the unauthorized use of the aircraft for personal gain, deviated from standard operating procedures and regulations, marking a significant breach of protocol. On June 11, at dusk, the airplane technician arrived at the airfield and stumbled upon an unusual scene. He found Kashapov and the airfield watchman engaged in a drinking party, consuming homemade alcohol, known locally as samagon or moonshine in Western terms. As the gathering grew with more people joining in, the atmosphere turned more festive. With the following day, June 12, being celebrated as Russia Day annually, the group kicked off their festivities a bit early in recognition of the national holiday. Kashapov, seemingly emboldened by the situation in the presence of the expanding group, made a decision to take them on a scenic flight. During this time, one of the passengers reached out to a local businessman, Sergei Frolov, inviting him for an impromptu airplane ride. Fortunately for Frolov, he was out of town and couldn't make it back in time for the flight. The airplane technician, witnessing the situation unfold, attempted to dissuade Kashapov from flying, especially under the influence of alcohol and with such a diverse group of passengers. Despite his efforts, Kashapov disregarded the technician's concerns, using profanities and boarded the airplane with 12 passengers. After closing the aircraft's entrance door, Kashapov faced trouble starting the engine. On Kashapov's request, the technician boarded the aircraft, pretending to assist. However, covertly, he closed the fuel cutoff valve, causing the engine to fail to start 3 additional times. Eventually, Kashapov caught on to the technician's sabotage, reacted angrily by hitting his hand away from the valve, swearing at him, and ordering him off the airplane. Kashapov, undeterred by the earlier incidents, successfully started the engine of the airplane and commenced his takeoff from the Serov airfield runway. Following the takeoff, the technician observed the airplane executing a low-level turn and performing a daring flypast over the airfield, a maneuver that was both risky and an obvious show-off. The airplane then continued its flight, maintaining a low altitude as it headed southwest over a densely forested area. Returning to a building on the airfield, the technician encountered the second pilot, who had just arrived moments earlier. He briefed the second pilot on the events that led up to Kashapov's impromptu flight. Together, they decided to wait for 30 minutes, hoping for the airplane's return. However, when the airplane did not return, the second pilot escalated the situation by contacting the director of Avia-Zov, their employer, to report the missing airplane. Acting on this alarming information, the director reached out to the Ekaterinburg Air Traffic Control Center the following morning. This communication triggered the launch of a search and rescue operation, marking the beginning of a concerted effort to locate the missing aircraft and its passengers. The search and rescue operation for the missing AN-2 aircraft was an extensive and multifaceted effort involving various aircraft. An AN-2, belonging to the same company as the missing plane, was deployed, meticulously following predetermined routes that encompassed key waypoints. An Mi-8 helicopter scanned 20 by 20 km grid squares within a 250 km radius of Serov, covering 2,400 square kilometers in 5 flights over a duration of 13 hours on the first day alone. Despite these efforts, no success was reported. The search was conducted in accordance with Federal Aviation Search and Rescue Operations procedures, focusing particularly on areas where radio-technical methods and communication had failed. Starting June 13, 2012, a wide array of aviation resources, including additional Mi-8s and AN-2s, were deployed for visual searches from several airfields. Concurrently, a substantial ground search operation was underway, involving 1,400 personnel and 345 equipment units, all coordinated by an operational headquarters established in Serov. Support measures such as a supplementary coordination center, a mobile command post, meteorological support, and airspace restrictions were also implemented to facilitate the search. From June 20, the operation was reinforced with additional AS-350 helicopters from UT Air and AN-2 aircraft from the Nizhny Tagil Aviation Sports Club, expanding the search area to a 250 km radius around Serov, covering a massive area of 196,350 square kilometers. Despite these intensified efforts and the expanded aviation force, the missing aircraft remained unlocated. On June 28, the search strategy was refined to focus more precisely on potential flight paths, targeting specific grids and regions along the Ural Mountains and adjacent foothills. This adjustment was partly influenced by a report from the aircraft technician who overheard a passenger's request to fly over the Urals. An AS-350 conducted flights under conditions similar to the missing aircraft to help determine its probable route. The search continued with ground groups and standby aircraft until August 2, after 292 flights covering over 1,000 hours, yet the aircraft remained undiscovered. Civil aviation aircraft in the area were instructed to remain alert for any indications of the missing plane. In October, the search resumed with additional observers and GPS tracking, but the dense forests and challenging terrain made the search efforts particularly arduous. Worsening weather and snow cover eventually forced a halt to aviation search efforts in November. By this point, 337 flights had covered nearly 283,000 square kilometers, and ground search parties had scoured over 3,200 square kilometers. 5 months into the fruitless search, speculative theories about the incident began to circulate, although authorities asserted that every lead, regardless of its plausibility, had been thoroughly investigated. In an unexpected development, almost 1 year after the aircraft went missing, on May 5, 2013, hunters from Serov, exploring new hunting areas, inadvertently discovered what appeared to be an airplane crash site in a forested swamp. Upon being alerted, authorities visited the location and confirmed that the wreckage was indeed that of the lost AN-2 aircraft, bearing the registration Romeo Alpha 40312. Tragically, the site also held the skeletal remains of everyone who had been on board. What was perhaps most astonishing was the discovery that the crash site was located just 10 kilometers southwest of the city of Serov. Between May 6 and May 8, 2013, a commission operated at the crash site. They resolved to transport the fragments of the airframe and the engine from the crash site to a hangar. These fragments were to be preserved for the duration of the investigation, with the Serov city administration overseeing their safekeeping. The investigation concluded on September 9, 2013, leading to the release of the accident report. This report identified several critical factors contributing to the cause of the accident. The failure to achieve positive outcomes in the search efforts was ascribed to several factors: the unavailability of precise details regarding the flight path and the actual purpose of the distressed aircraft's journey, the challenging nature of the search operation owing to the dense, swampy forests with trees exceeding 20 meters in height, and the demanding terrain of the crash site, particularly during the summer months. A significant factor that complicated the search for the missing aircraft was the delayed communication from key individuals. The second pilot and the technician reported the unauthorized flight and the aircraft's failure to return to the director of LLC, Avia-Zov, only 1.5 hours after the aircraft had departed. Further, it took the director of LLC, Avia-Zov, an additional 8.5 hours to relay this information to the RCS air traffic control in Yekaterinburg. According to the Commission, these delays played a crucial role in hindering the search efforts. Had the RCS air traffic control in Yekaterinburg been promptly informed about the aircraft's failure to return, the crash site might have been located earlier, potentially identified by the fire that ensued at the site. Concerning the events leading to the accident and the crash itself, the investigation noted several key points. Given that the aircraft went down only 10 kilometers from the aerodrome, it was estimated that the flight lasted about 5 to 7 minutes. The pilot in command, who was likely under the influence of alcohol according to the technician's account, may have failed to notice a tall, dry tree while flying at an extremely low altitude over the forest. This led to the aircraft colliding with a tree with the lower left wing. The impact was primarily on the left half-wing box, resulting in significant damage and destruction to the lower wing. As a result, the aircraft rolled to the left, leading to the left wing striking the ground first, followed by the aircraft's nose. The investigation also noted that the setting sun at the time may have been a contributing factor. With the flight conducted at a low altitude above the treetops on a heading of 230 degrees, the sun's rays, positioned at about a 30 degrees angle in the pilot's field of vision as it was setting, might have also played a role in the accident. The probable cause of the accident was attributed to the pilot's impaired judgment, likely due to alcohol, hitting a tall tree while flying at a perilously low altitude, compounded by the blinding glare of the setting sun, leading to the aircraft's collision and crash a mere 10 kilometers from the aerodrome. In the calm after the storm, the unsettling decision of 12 passengers to board an aircraft with a clearly intoxicated pilot continues to elude understanding. The reasons behind this fateful choice might always remain shrouded in mystery, yet the outcome was devastatingly final and tragic, and the consequences of that decision highlight the need for vigilance and responsibility in all aspects of life. This sequence of baffling and extraordinary events culminated in a profound tragedy, leaving an irreversible mark of loss. May the families, friends, and loved ones of the departed find the necessary strength, support, and resources to heal and recover from this heartbreaking tragedy.